So now I just want to turn the seam up. So it's the top of it here. And then we're just going to fold that edge over. I'm just going to repress the rest of the cuff here. All the way to the end. Then we go look at it from the other side there. We can't see any trace of the stitching whatsoever. There's our two hind arm seams sewn. So I'm going to take out my basting stitch. Now the next thing I want to do is press open the forearm seams, and to do this I'm going to need my sleeve board. So take the sleeve, slip it up all the way up onto the sleeve board, this over again, and then just let the seam fold over. There's no need to cut the seam, just press it over like so. I'm just going to baste it seam allowance to seam allowance. This, I'm using a basting stitch for this. This is a permanent stitch. So I get a couple of stitches there, and then let in a little bit of fullness. Leave some length on the thread as well. It's a little tricky, this bit. Just a bit of chalk in there, that's the edge of the cuff right there. Good marker front pitch here. And for the back pitch, we can measure that off the left side. So we take our ruler and measure from the shoulder seam down to the hind arm seam of the sleeve, which is my back pitch, or measure up, whichever is more convenient. So that's measuring at 3 3/4, and it's usually in around 3.5 to 4.5. So we seem to have solved the problem underneath with the tightness, and we still got a little bit of fullness on the top. We can probably move some of that fullness around to the front here whenever we've got started basting our smaller stitches. So we got a bit of fullness trapped right here. We're going to move that around to the front. So now we're going to reach in with our iron and press all the fullness out of our sleeves. We don't want to leave so much as a pleat in the sleeve. Press it, shrink it all out. So now whenever we machine it round, we'll be guaranteed we're not going to sew in any pleats. I'm going to use a double basting cotton. You can use whatever you like. I'm just going to use some basting cotton for this. I'll start here with a double basting cotton and do a back stitch around the armhole, and I'm just picking up, I'm not picking up the lining, so I'm picking up the canvas and eventually the shoulder pad, and I'll be going through the sleeve head wadding as well. And I'm staying inside the seam, so I'm not crossing over the machine stitch going into the coat. It's going to get thicker as I go over the crown here, so I'm right into the thickest part of the pad. Again, don't pull the stitches tight, just close them, and give it a back stitch every 2 stitches or so. So you want to try and baste this as straight as you can, which is difficult because we're using a long basting stitch. It's easier to sort of baste it around once, and that kind of helps you distribute the fullness, and then come around afterwards and fell it into place. Okay. Believe it or not, that actually completes the making of the coat. All we have to do now is all that lovely finishing.